Welcome back to Shadow Warefare, the channel where we pull back the veil on hidden spiritual realities, expose the tactics of darkness, and equip you with the truth that sets captives free. This is not entertainment. This is spiritual intelligence. This is awareness. This is warfare. If you are new here, this channel is dedicated to exposing spiritual manipulation, occult deception, and the unseen battles that affect everyday life. Today, we are diving into a topic that almost everyone has experienced but very few truly understand. Have you ever been asleep dreaming and suddenly you are falling? Not slipping, not gently descending, falling from a building, falling off a cliff, falling into darkness, falling through endless space. And just before you hit the ground, you wake up. Your heart is racing. Your body jerks. Sometimes it feels so real that you check your surroundings to make sure you're safe. What does it mean? Is it just your brain misfiring? Is it random? Or is there something deeper happening in the spirit realm? Stay with me, because what I am about to share may completely change how you interpret this common dream. I speak not as someone guessing. I speak as someone who once operated in the world of ritual, astral manipulation, and dream infiltration. I was trained to understand how dreams are used as access points. And one of the most common dream experiences targeted in spiritual operations is the sensation of falling. Let me start by saying this clearly: not every dream of falling is demonic. Not every falling dream is spiritual attack. But some of them absolutely are. The key is discernment. There are three primary layers to a falling dream: the psychical vulnerability layer and the spiritual attack layer. The psychological layer is the surface. Falling in this context represents loss of control. It can symbolize anxiety about your job, your relationship, your finances, or your future. When your waking life feels unstable, your subconscious can create a falling sensation to mirror that instability. The brain uses motion to communicate emotion. Falling equals fear of losing footing in life. But here is what most people don't know. In occult dream work, falling is also associated with destabilization rituals. The goal is to weaken a person's spiritual grounding. When someone is spiritually grounded, they are stable. When they are stable, they are harder to influence. But when someone feels unstable, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they become easier to manipulate. In certain dark practices, dreams are seen as gateways. The conscious mind is quiet, defenses are lowered, the spirit is more impressionable. That is why dream symbolism is so powerful. Now let's go deeper. When you fall in a dream, ask yourself, where were you falling from? Height matters. If you are falling from a high building, that can symbolize a position, status, or authority. Spiritually, it can represent fear of demotion, exposure, or loss of influence. In spiritual warfare terms, it can indicate an attack against your calling. When someone is rising in purpose, sometimes the counter-attack begins in dreams with falling imagery. If you are falling off a cliff in nature, it can symbolize transition. Cliffs represent edges, moments before change. Falling here can indicate fear of stepping into the unknown. But in darker spiritual contexts, cliffs are sometimes used symbolically to represent covenant thresholds. Moments where a person is about to break free from something, and a destabilization attempt is made. If you are falling into water, that is different. Water in dreams often represents emotions or the spiritual realm. Falling into water can mean being overwhelmed emotionally. But if the water is dark, murky, or endless, it can symbolize confusion and spiritual oppression attempting to pull you under. And then there is the most intense version, falling into darkness with no ground in sight. This is not just instability, it's a loss of orientation. In certain occult teachings, darkness represents the unknown spiritual realm. Falling endlessly can represent disconnection from spiritual anchoring. It can be a sign of spiritual exhaustion, especially if you wake up feeling drained rather than just startled. Now let's address the physical sensation that often accompanies this dream: the sudden jerk awake. Science calls it a hypnic jerk, a muscle spasm as you transition between wakefulness and sleep. But here is something most people never question. Why does the brain simulate falling at the exact moment the body is shutting down into sleep paralysis mode? Because sleep is a surrender state. When you fall asleep, your body enters vulnerability, your muscles relax, your awareness dims. And for people who are spiritually sensitive, this threshold moment can feel like slipping. In spiritual warfare language, falling can symbolize a Gweech attempt, a test to see if your spiritual boundaries are guarded. Let me explain something from my past. In certain rituals, practitioners attempt to induce dream states in targets. The first stage is disorientation, the symbol used most often. Falling, because falling produces fear instantly, and fear opens doors. Fear is a frequency. When you wake up from a falling dream terrified, your body releases stress hormones, your heart pounds, your mind is confused. In that moment, if you do not regain peace quickly, you remain spiritually unsettled. That unsettled state can linger into your waking day. Now I want you to think. Do your falling dreams happen during stressful seasons of your life? Do they increase when you are about to make progress? Do they happen repeatedly in cycles? Repetition is key. Random dreams happen once. Patterns of purpose. If you repeatedly dream of falling from the same place, that is not random imagery. That is a symbolic message trying to surface. Sometimes the message is internal. You are afraid to trust, afraid to step out, afraid to let go. Falling represents surrender. And many people resist surrender because they associate it. Surrender is not falling. Surrender is trust. So why does the dream use falling? Because falling without trust feels like death. Here is another layer most people ignore. In ancient symbolism, falling represented separation from divine covering. Stories across cultures describe beings who fell when they lost alignment with higher authority. The imagery of falling has always symbolized displacement. So when someone dreams of falling, one question must be asked: where do you feel displaced in your life? Do you feel disconnected from purpose? Do you feel removed from peace? Do you feel like something shifted and you can't find your footing? Dreams amplify what your spirit is processing. Now I want to address the difference between warning dreams and attack dreams. A warning dream leaves clarity. Even if it is scary, you wake up with insight. You understand something about your life that needs attention. An attack dream leaves confusion, heaviness, sometimes even lingering fear that feels irrational. When falling dreams are warnings, they are often gentle. You fall but you land safely, or you wake before impact but without terror. When falling dreams are attacks, they are intense. You feel pulled. You feel powerless. You may even feel like something pushed you. That sensation of being pushed is important. If in your dream you are standing stable and something shoves you into falling, that represents external pressure in your waking life. It can symbolize manipulation, betrayal, or unseen opposition. Let me tell you something plainly. Darkness cannot operate freely in a life that is spiritually fortified. But it can attempt intimidation. Falling dreams are sometimes intimidation tactics. The message being sent is, you are not stable. You can be dropped. But here is the truth. If you wake up, you did not hit the ground. You did not crash. You did not die. You woke up. That means you are still covered. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is changing your reaction when you wake up from a falling dream. Instead of fear, speak grounding truth immediately. Regain authority. Regain peace. Do not let the fear linger. Because fear sustained becomes access granted. Let's talk about recurring falling dreams in childhood. Many children experience falling dreams. Why? Because childhood is a season of lullability and growth. The brain is developing. The sense of security is forming. Falling can represent insecurity in attachment. But if falling dreams continue strongly into adulthood, especially during spiritual transitions, it can symbolize fear of elevation. Yes, fear of elevation. Some people dream of falling because they subconsciously fear rising. If you are ascending in life, spiritually, financially, socially, there can be anxiety about maintaining that height. The higher you go, the more you fear falling. So your dream rehearses the worst-case scenario. But rehearsing falling does not mean you are destined to fall. It means you are processing pressure. Now I want to speak to those who dream of falling and never hitting the ground. Endless falling represents suspended transition. You are between what was and what will be. Not grounded in the past, not landed in the future. That in-between space can feel terrifying, but it is often a growth corridor. You feel like you are falling because you are actually being stretched. In warfare language, it is the moment between attack and breakthrough. And here is something powerful. Many people report that just before they wake from a falling dream, they feel a sudden jolt upward. That upward jolt is symbolic. It is recovery. It is interception. It is protection. You were not allowed to hit the ground. You were intercepted. What if instead of seeing falling dreams as doom, you began seeing them as evidence that you are guarded? Because if something truly wanted destruction, it would not wake you. It would let the crash happen in the dream narrative, but you wake up. Every time. Now let's talk about the emotional tone of the dream. Are you screaming while falling? That represents panic in waking life. Are you calm while falling? That represents surrender. Yes, some people fall in dreams and feel peaceful. That is not attack. That is transition. That is letting go of control. But if you feel terror and paralysis, that is different. Paralysis combined with falling can indicate a situation you did not choose. And sometimes it can indicate spiritual fatigue. If you are constantly battling stress, negativity, internal conflict, your mind may use falling as a shorthand for overwhelm. The body can only carry so much tension before the dream war. Now let me say something controversial. Not every spiritual experience is dramatic. Sometimes, falling dreams are simply your nervous system recalibrating. But discernment matters. If your falling dreams are accompanied by other patterns, repeated nightmares, feelings of oppression, sudden anxiety at night, unexplained dread, then you must strengthen your spiritual hygiene. What does that mean? It means guarding what you consume before sleep, guarding what you watch, guarding conversations, guarding emotional residue from the day. Because sleep is not just rest, it is processing. And what you feed your mind feeds your dreams. I want to speak directly to the person who has been having falling dreams during a breakthrough season. You started praying more. You started healing. You started cutting toxic ties. And suddenly the falling dreams began. That is not coincidence. Whenever you elevate, there is resistance. Falling dreams in that context can represent the fear of losing your new level. The mind tries to pull you back to familiarity. Growth feels unsafe to the ego, so it simulates falling to test if you will retreat. But you must not retreat. You must understand that elevation always feels unstable at first. When a bird first leaves the nest, falling and flying feel almost identical. The difference is in the direction of movement. And sometimes what feels like falling is actually learning to fly. Now I want you to examine one more detail. Do you fall alone in your dreams, or do others fall with you? If others fall with you, it may represent collective instability, family issues, community pressure, shared fear. If you fall alone while others stand firm, it may represent comparison and insecurity. Dreams use metaphor, they speak in symbols, and falling is one of the most coinal of loss of control. But control itself is often illusion. Life shifts, seasons change. Stability is not found in circumstances. It is found in internal anchoring. So what is the ultimate meaning when you dream of falling? It means something in your life feels unsteady. It means your spirit is processing vulnerability. It means you are at a threshold of trust. And in rare cases, it means intimidation is attempting to enter through fear. But fear only gains power when believed. The next time you wake from a falling dream, do not panic. Pause, breathe. Ask yourself what in your life feels unstable. Ask yourself where you need grounding. Ask yourself if you are resisting growth. And then reclaim peace intentionally. Because here is the truth that darkness does not want you to know. You are more stable than you think. You are more guarded than you feel. You are more protected than the dream suggests. Falling in a dream does not mean you are falling in life. It means you are aware of gravity. And awareness is power. So instead of fearing the falling dream, interpret it. Instead of reacting with panic, respond with authority. Instead of assuming doom, seek discernment. This is Shadow Warefare. We expose tactics so you are not blindsided. We decode symbols so you are not manipulated by fear. And we stand grounded so that even if the dream shows falling, the reality remains firm. If this message resonated with you, if you have experienced falling dreams during critical seasons, understand that you are not alone and you are not crazy. Your mind is communicating, your spirit is processing, and you are still standing. Even if the dream says you are falling, stay aware, stay grounded, stay armored, and I will see you in the next revelation.